The image that people, I think, have in their minds of Syria today is this idea of a region on fire, more wounded people everywhere, and kind of this carpet bombing of a whole area. And while that is the case for many even, the majority of the population is suffering the indirect consequences of the violence. My name is Amber Alayyan. I am a pediatrician, but for the last 18 months I've been working as the medical coordinator for our programs in northern Syria. MSF has multiple programs running across all of Syria, but especially in northern Syria. We have one hospital that is doing surgery for burn victims. Going back to the idea of the indirect consequences of the war, the patients who have suffered from burns, they're actually mostly domestic burns because they have no access to well-refined fuel. So it's poorly refined fuel, and eventually it's like your stove or your kitchen blows up. 98% of the injuries are women and children in domestic incidents. They have nothing to do with violence. One of the harder issues to approach is this issue of chronic diseases, because it is it's so specific to each patient and not what you really think of when you think about war. And you don't think about these long-standing issues. When you think about war, you don't really think about diabetes. But if you can't get your medications and you've had diabetes for a really long time or for 5 years, this is the kind of person who ends up on dialysis. Or you have high blood pressure and eventually you need like bypass surgery because your cholesterol and your blood pressure can't be under control. So for the portion of the population in Syria who have chronic diseases, it can be really difficult for them to get their medications. There was a patient that we were treating, a woman who had multiple sclerosis. The medications for multiple sclerosis are difficult to access in general. And the only option really for her was to go to Turkey. But to do that, you have to get on a waiting list at the border. So we put her on the waiting list, and she wasn't allowed to cross until 10 months later. We've been doing routine vaccinations, really one of the only organizations doing routine vaccinations for children under 5 in many parts of northern Syria. You don't think about prevention when a child has gone unvaccinated since the beginning of the war, and you can now see outbreaks of polio. We are more and more responding through the provision of medications and working with specialists to try to provide prevention strategies for these patients so that we can avoid these potentially long-term consequences when they go without any treatment or any access to good quality care.